Hello and welcome to Campaign Chronicles, our daily look at the race to be France's next president. Today, with less than 2 months to go, the candidates are focused on the opinion polls, but it's the polls themselves that are causing controversy, as both Nicolas Sarkozy and François Hollande effectively accuse the other of trying to manipulate them. And to tell us more about this, I'm now joined by press reviewer Elena Casas. Hello, Elena. So what's the controversy then?
Well, look at this article from the British newspaper The Independent. They've lined up 3 different polls taken in the last week of French voters over whether in the first round they would prefer Nicolas Sarkozy or François Hollande. And you can see there's a huge gap there. The top one, run by CSA and published by the paper 20 Minutes, has only 1% gap between Hollande on 28% and Sarkozy on 27%. The very bottom one, which is Ipsos Mori, published in Le Monde, has nearly a 10% gap. They've got Hollande there on 25% and Sarkozy on 32%. So this is rather more, The Independent points out, than you would normally expect for the margin of polling error to be. Obviously, not all polls will agree. But to disagree this much, people start to smell a rat. And indeed, some people in the Hollande team have been smelling that rat. And they say it's because the polling company CSA is owned by the media magnate Vincent Bolloré, who is known to be friends with Nicolas Sarkozy. He's been photographed having dinner with the president. The president's been on his yacht, things like that. You know, their close relationship is well known. So Hollande's team effectively have accused Sarkozy of using his friendship with the well-known pollster to manipulate polls, to commission polls that make him look better. Now, this spat came out into the open air yesterday, if you like, when both Sarkozy and Hollande publicly accused one another of being too close to Bolloré. So here's Sarkozy on RTL radio yesterday morning, firing back at those accusations from the Hollande campaign.
Is it me who works in Mr. Bolloré's firm? No. Then who is it? Who is it? Is it me who has a TV show on Mr. Bolloré's channel?
François Hollande's partner does.
Exactly. So you ask me a question, I respond. Does her working for Mr. Bolloré make the socialist candidate dependent on him? Of course not. So I don't say that I am.
Now, he's talking there, of course, as his interviewer said there, about François Hollande's partner, Valérie Trierweiler, who does currently present a show on a channel owned by Vincent Bolloré. Now, does that mean François Hollande is uncomfortably close to him as well? Well, he certainly doesn't think so. Here's how he replied on TV last night to that accusation from Sarkozy.
You can't attack a candidate's partner. What's the pretext for doing that? That she does her job as a journalist, independently in a media firm? I don't really understand what he's alluding to. I know he has a problem. He should admit it. That he should never have gone to Phuket. That he shouldn't have spent time on Monsieur Bolloré's yacht. That he shouldn't have made these mistakes.
Now, why is this man even important? Well, it's because his media power allows the candidates to manipulate the polls. And as Slate is pointing out today, there are enormous gaps between them, not just on the subject of Hollande and Sarkozy. We must be honest, we saw those polls in The Independent showing the big gaps there. But Slate also points out that, for example, on the subject of candidate Jean-Luc Mélenchon, there are some polls being published showing 35% of the working classes wanting to vote for him, and some showing only 9%. So there is something slightly fishy going on in French polling altogether, the methodologies that they're using, because if there are such enormous gaps from one poll to the other.
Something fishy going on. All right, you heard it here first. Now, this isn't the only reason why Sarkozy's friendship with tycoons like Bolloré is controversial, though, is it? He's trying to shake his image as the president of the rich as well.
Yes, absolutely, and that's something that François Hollande can't stop bringing up, as he did just there in that interview, talking about the famous dinner at Le Fouquet's, one of Paris's most expensive restaurants, on the evening of his election the last time round. The Huffington Post says that this idea of fake polling, this isn't the first time, of course, that Sarkozy has been accused of trying to manipulate the polls by commissioning extra polls showing him looking good. He's been accused of doing that several times throughout his presidency. But this is just one, the Huffington Post says, of a series of scandals from the Fouquet's at the the beginning of his election, right through the Bettencourt scandal, the Karachi affair, to last week, accusations he was trying to parachute Jean-Louis Borloo, the former environment minister, into the top job energy firm Veolia. Now, the Huffington Post says François Hollande is doing everything he can to try and put more energy, more voter attention on Sarkozy's connections to very rich men. But look at this interesting article in the Nouvel Observateur, which shows they say that tactic might not necessarily work. Their argument is that it's only voters on the left who care about corruption scandals anyway. They say that the left, François Hollande, is likely to be more damaged by Dominique Strauss-Kahn's sex scandals, and particularly those linking him to corruption around the prostitution ring that he's alleged to be linked to around the Carlton Hotel in Lille, than they say that's going to be more damaging to Hollande than all of these assortment of financial scandals that we've had will be to Sarkozy, because according to them, it's only really left-wing voters that have those kinds of moral scruples. People who are going to vote for Sarkozy anyway are pretty relaxed about his connections to big businessmen.
That Fouquet's dinner just keeps coming up again and again and again. I doubt this time, if he wins, he'll go somewhere like McDonald's, though. I don't see that happening, do you? All right, thank you very much for that, Elena. That was Campaign Chronicles, and that's it from all of us here at Live from Paris. Do stay tuned to France 24.